Some people speak their dreams aloud, scattering them like loose papers in the wind. Others hold their dreams close, folded gently against the heart, where they can grow without interruption. There is a quiet wisdom in not explaining yourself, in letting your life do the talking while your mouth rests. You see, not every soul is meant to understand your direction, and not every ear is safe for your vision. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk forward in silence, carrying purpose in your steps and faith in your breath, knowing that when the time is right, the world will not need an explanation, it will simply see. There is a certain strength that lives in quiet places. It is the strength of those who wake up before the sun, who carry dreams in their bones, and who do not feel the need to explain their direction to every passing voice. When you move in silence, you give yourself room to breathe, room to grow, room to become. Grace does not rush, and neither should you. It walks steadily, confident that what is meant to be seen will be seen at the proper hour. Too much talking can tire a dream before it learns how to stand. Every opinion, every raised eyebrow, every careless word has the power to shake something that is still learning its shape. Silence, on the other hand, is a warm shelter. It allows your plans to mature without being questioned, compared, or misunderstood. You are not hiding when you are quiet. You are protecting something precious. And what you protect with care often rewards you with strength. There will always be people who ask, "What are you doing?" Not because they wish you well, but because they wish to measure you against their own fears. You owe them nothing. Your life is not a report, and your future is not a debate. Let them wonder, let them doubt. While they are busy talking, you are busy becoming, and that difference will show itself in time. Grace has a way of speaking without making noise. It shows up in how you carry yourself, in the calm of your eyes, in the steady way you keep moving, even when nobody is clapping. Results have a language that needs no translation. When your work is finished, it will stand upright and speak clearly on your behalf. Until then, silence keeps you focused and faithful to your own path. Do not mistake loudness for confidence. True confidence is gentle. It does not beg to be noticed. It knows where it is going, even if the road is long and lonely. When you stop explaining yourself, you save energy. That energy turns into discipline, into patience, into consistency. And consistency over time becomes something powerful enough to change your life. Remember this: seeds do not announce themselves before they break the soil. They grow quietly, faithfully, trusting the process they were created for, and when they rise, they do not apologize for the space they take. Let your life be like that. Move in silence. Let grace speak. And when your moment arrives, your presence will say everything that words never could. There is a quiet misunderstanding in this world about privacy. People often confuse it with secrecy, as if keeping parts of your life to yourself means you are hiding something shameful. But privacy is not born from fear. It is born from self-respect. It is the gentle decision to honor your inner world, to recognize that not everything sacred needs to be shared, explained, or exposed. When you choose privacy, you are choosing dignity over noise. Your dreams deserve tenderness. They arrive softly, sometimes trembling, still unsure of their strength. When you rush to tell everyone what you are building, you expose those dreams to hands that may not know how to hold them. Some hands squeeze too hard with criticism, others drop them carelessly with doubt. Protecting your dreams is not arrogance, it is wisdom. It is saying, "This matters to me enough to keep it safe." There is a deep kind of love in moving quietly. It is the love you show your future self when you refuse to let today's opinions damage tomorrow's possibilities. Every dream needs time to grow roots, and roots do their best work underground. No one applauds them. No one sees them stretching, strengthening, preparing. Yet without them, nothing ever stands tall. Privacy gives your roots the darkness they need to grow strong. You do not owe the world access to your becoming. Too often, people ask questions that sound curious but carry judgment underneath. They want updates, timelines, explanations, proof. But your life is not an open book for casual readers. You get to choose who is allowed to turn the pages. Self-respect means knowing that some chapters are written best in solitude, where your voice is the loudest and your faith is uninterrupted. When you guard your dreams, you also guard your peace. You stop rehearsing explanations. You stop defending paths that are still unfolding. That peace becomes fuel. It sharpens your focus and steadies your steps. While others are busy talking about what they want to do, you are quietly doing the work. And work done in peace carries a different kind of power. There will come a time when what you have been protecting no longer needs protection. Growth reaches a point where it speaks for itself. At that moment, people will notice not because you announced yourself, but because your presence has weight. Your calm will answer questions before they are asked. Your results will explain what words never could. So honor your privacy. Treat it as a form of self-love, not distance. Let it remind you that your dreams are worthy of care, patience, and silence. Walk forward without overexposure, without apology. In doing so, you are not closing yourself off from the world. You are preparing yourself to meet it stronger, wiser, and whole. As you walk your path, you will notice that not everyone clapping is cheering, and not everyone watching is wishing you well. Some eyes observe not to learn, but to judge. Some ears listen not to understand, but to repeat. This is why discernment matters. Your life is a sacred unfolding, and sacred things are not placed on display for casual spectators. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your growth. There are people who will lean forward only to find your flaws, who will study your movement just to question your direction. Their doubt has nothing to do with your ability and everything to do with their own fear of trying. When you give such people access to your plans, they do not add wisdom, they add weight. They do not offer clarity, they bring confusion. Protecting your purpose means knowing when to step back and let silence be your boundary. Some people watch with the hope that you will fail, because your success reminds them of chances they did not take. Others watch because they want to compare their pace to yours, forgetting that every soul has its own timing. You cannot carry your destiny and their expectations at the same time. One will always suffer. Choose your destiny. Choose the quiet strength of staying focused on your own lane. It takes courage to limit access. We are taught to share, to explain, to invite everyone into our dreams, but wisdom teaches restraint. Wisdom whispers, "Not yet," and sometimes, "Not them." You are allowed to choose who hears your plans, who knows your struggles, who sees your unfinished work. This is not selfishness, it is stewardship. You are taking care of what has been entrusted to you. When you stop performing your progress for an audience, something liberating happens. You begin to move with intention instead of pressure. You stop seeking approval and start trusting your inner voice. Your steps become steadier because they are no longer guided by outside opinions. Growth becomes deeper when it is not rushed by spectators demanding results. There is peace in knowing that the right people will recognize you without explanation. Those meant to support you will not require constant updates. They will feel your growth even from a distance. And when the time comes for you to step fully into who you are becoming, you will not need to invite anyone to the front row. Your life will naturally draw the right witnesses. So let some people watch from afar. Let some wonder. Let some misunderstand. You are not here to satisfy curiosity. You are here to fulfill purpose. Keep your circle intentional and your spirit protected. Walk forward with grace, knowing that when your work is complete, those who truly matter will see not just what you've done, but who you have become. There is a delicate season in every dream when it needs quiet more than applause. In that season, too many voices can become a storm, bending what is still learning how to stand. Opinions arrive uninvited. some dressed as advice, others disguised as concern, but both can interrupt the natural rhythm of growth. When you allow your work to grow without interference, you give it the gift of time, and time has a way of strengthening what was once fragile. Every meaningful thing begins small. It begins uncertain, unpolished, still finding its balance. When you expose it too early, you place it under lights it was never meant to grow beneath. People begin to touch it with expectations, compare it to finished stories, and judge it by standards it has not yet reached. Silence creates space. Space allows your work to breathe, to stretch, to fail privately, and to rise stronger without the weight of unnecessary commentary. There is wisdom in letting your efforts mature in the background. While others speak loudly about what they hope to do, you are quietly shaping something real. You are learning, adjusting, improving, and building endurance. Interference often demands speed, but growth demands patience. What is rushed for approval rarely lasts. What is nurtured in quiet often carries depth, substance, and staying power. Careless words can do more damage than we admit. A single doubt spoken at the wrong moment can linger longer than encouragement. A careless opinion can echo in the mind and weaken confidence. When you limit access to your process, you protect your belief in yourself. You stop borrowing doubt from people who are not walking your path. You begin to trust your own rhythm instead of reacting to every outside voice. Let your work become strong before it becomes visible. Strength is built in repetition, in unseen effort, in days when no one notices but you keep going anyway. These are the moments that shape character. These are the hours that teach resilience. Interference interrupts that lesson. Silence allows it to sink deep, where it becomes part of who you are, not just what you do. There will come a moment when your work no longer needs protection. It will have grown roots deep enough to withstand wind. At that point, opinions will lose their power, because your confidence will not be borrowed from others. It will come from knowing what it took to get there. When your work finally speaks, it will speak with clarity, not confusion, because it was allowed to grow whole. Until that time, choose restraint, choose peace over performance. Let your effort remain sacred while it is still becoming. You are not behind for being quiet, and you are not invisible for working in silence. You are preparing something meaningful, and when it steps into the light, it will not need defending. It will stand on its own, strong, rooted, and undeniable. There comes a moment in life when you realize that becoming is not something to be explained, justified, or displayed. It is something to be lived. Your journey is sacred because it is yours alone, shaped by experiences no one else has walked through, lessons no one else has learned in your way. When you begin to treat your life like a performance, you trade truth for approval. And approval is a poor substitute for peace. You were not born to audition for acceptance. You were born to grow, to change, to evolve at a pace that honors your spirit. Yet the world often demands explanations. Why you chose this path, why you changed your mind, why you are moving slower or faster than expected. But becoming does not follow a script, and it does not pause to answer questions. It unfolds naturally, quietly, honestly, when you allow it to. When you feel pressured to explain yourself, you start shaping your life around how it looks instead of how it feels. You begin to edit your truth to make it more comfortable for others. In doing so, you lose touch with your own voice. Silence can bring you back. In silence, you remember who you are when no one is watching. You reconnect with the part of you that knows what you need, even when you cannot yet name it. There is freedom in understanding that you do not owe clarity to those who are not committed to your growth. Some people ask questions not to support you, but to place you in a box they can understand. But your becoming cannot be boxed. It is layered, complicated, and still in motion. You are allowed to change direction without giving notice. You are allowed to grow without permission. Sacred journeys are not rushed. They are honored with patience. When you stop performing, you stop pretending to have answers you are still discovering. You allow yourself to be unfinished. That honesty creates strength. It gives you room to fail privately, to learn deeply, and to rise without the pressure of an audience waiting for results. There will be times when your quiet confuses people. Let it. Confusion is not your responsibility to resolve. Your responsibility is to remain true. The right people will not demand explanations. They will recognize your sincerity in how you live. They will see your growth not through announcements, but through presence, through the way you carry yourself, through the peace that surrounds you. Your journey is not entertainment, it is transformation. Treat it gently, guard it fiercely, walk it faithfully. You are not behind because you are quiet. You are not lost because you are still becoming. You are exactly where you need to be, honoring a process that deserves reverence, not commentary. And in time, without a single explanation, your life will speak with a truth that cannot be questioned. Silence has often been misunderstood as weakness, as if the quiet ones have nothing to say or nothing to stand on. But silence, when chosen, is not surrender, it is intention. It is the calm decision to conserve your energy, to observe before you speak, and to move with purpose rather than impulse. Fear makes noise. Strategy listens, waits, and then acts with precision. Quiet confidence does not rush to explain itself. It does not argue for its worth or demand to be believed. It understands that strength does not need witnesses to exist. When you stop reacting to every question and challenge, you gain control over your direction. You learn that not every situation deserves your voice, and not every person deserves your truth. Silence becomes a way of choosing yourself. There is power in watching instead of announcing, in learning instead of declaring. When you stay quiet, you notice patterns others miss. You hear what people really say when they think you are not speaking back. You gain clarity about who supports you and who simply wants access. This awareness is not accidental, it is the reward of restraint. Silence sharpens perception. Loud explanations often come from a need to be validated. Quiet confidence comes from knowing. When you know who you are and where you are headed, there is no urgency to convince anyone else. You begin to trust the process unfolding inside you. You move steadily, without the distraction of proving yourself. That steadiness builds momentum that does not depend on applause. Silence also protects your emotional strength. When you explain too much, you open yourself to unnecessary judgment and doubt. When you stay quiet, you stay grounded. You stop carrying the burden of other people's opinions. Your mind becomes clearer, your focus stronger. What once felt like pressure begins to feel like freedom. There will be moments when people mistake your silence for uncertainty. Let them. They are responding to what they cannot see, not to what you know. Strategy does not announce itself before the move is made. It waits until the outcome speaks louder than words ever could. By then, explanations are no longer required. Quiet confidence changes how you show up in the world. You speak less, but when you do speak, your words carry weight. You act less impulsively and more intentionally. You are not pulled into every conversation or conflict. You understand that your energy is valuable and you spend it where it matters most. Silence is not about shrinking. It is about alignment. It is about knowing when to pause and when to move. When you choose silence as a strategy, you are not hiding. You are preparing. You are allowing your strength to mature, your plans to solidify, and your confidence to root itself deeply. And when the moment comes for you to step forward, your presence will feel undeniable. Not because you spoke the loudest, but because you moved with certainty. Quiet confidence leaves no need for explanation. It arrives complete, steady, and sure, proof that silence, when chosen with intention, is one of the most powerful tools you can carry. There is a fragile hour in every dream when it is still learning how to breathe. In that hour, speaking too soon can feel like opening a window during a storm. The wind rushes in uninvited, scattering thoughts, shaking confidence, disturbing what was just beginning to settle. Words, once released, cannot be gathered back, and not every ear receives them with care. Some hear your plans as permission to question, to criticize, to doubt before you have even found your footing. Premature sharing often invites storms you were never meant to fight. Doubt arrives disguised as advice. Fear shows up wearing the face of concern. Suddenly, a dream that felt clear becomes clouded by voices that do not know its origin. These storms do not strengthen you, they distract you, they demand explanations when your energy should be reserved for building. They pull your focus outward when it needs to stay inward. Strength takes time to form. Confidence is not instant. It is grown through effort, failure, adjustment, and persistence. When you speak too early, you expose something still tender to judgment. It is not yet equipped to withstand. A strong tree can survive heavy winds, but a young sapling needs shelter. Silence is that shelter. It allows your belief to harden gently, without pressure, without the constant need to defend itself. There is nothing wrong with waiting until your roots are deep. Waiting is not hesitation, it is preparation. In quiet seasons, you learn what works and what does not. You gain clarity through action, not conversation. You begin to trust yourself because you have tested your strength privately. By the time storms arrive, you are no longer shaken by them. You are grounded. Too often, people share their plans seeking encouragement, only to encounter skepticism instead. Not everyone can see what you see, and that is not a failure of your vision. It is simply a reminder that belief must come from within first. External belief is unreliable when your foundation is still forming. Silence protects your inner certainty until it becomes unbreakable. When you stop speaking too soon, you reclaim your peace. You no longer feel the need to update, to convince, to explain delays or changes. You allow your process to unfold naturally. Mistakes become lessons instead of public disappointments. Growth becomes personal, not performative. And in that privacy, your strength matures quietly. There will be a time to speak. There will be a moment when your work is ready to stand in the open, when your confidence no longer depends on agreement. At that point, storms will not frighten you because you will have weathered many in silence. Words will come easily then, not as promises, but as reflections of what already exists. Until that time, let quiet be your companion. Let patience guard your purpose. You are not late for holding your tongue, and you are not weak for protecting your vision. Some dreams need silence before they need witnesses, and when they finally speak, they will do so with a strength that no storm can silence.